Hang on,
SCORE's
Bill.
webinar.
Bill.
Hmm?
Hello, this is Larry Murphy. This session is being recorded. Let me turn it over to Bill Atkins. Bill?
Hello, everybody. My name is Bill Atkins. I'm the local chapter chair for SCORE. In case if you didn't know, is America's largest all-volunteering mentoring organization. And what that means is we have a lot of people experienced, either former small business owners, executives, we have some attorneys, we have all different backgrounds that are here to help you. And we're a resource partner for the SBA. For 100% all volunteers, what we do for free, and starting a business or growing your business, we have with all different backgrounds that are here to help you. So if you have a need anywhere in the United States, we have somebody here to help you. Today, we're fortunate to have Jewell, who's going to be presenting for us. And Mega's going to be doing a series of webinars for us. This is our first one. So at the end of this webinar, I'd ask that you keep an eye out, because we're going to be telling you about her next one. If you could go ahead and register that in advance so that you'll know about all the other webinars that we will be coming up. So again, for SCORE, everything that we do is confidential, so you can discuss anything with a mentor. I was a former business owner. I wish that I'd had utilized SCORE when I was first starting, and you all make some mistakes. With the past COVID situation that happened, SCORE had always been looking at people to start and grow the businesses. Actually, a lot of businesses were saved, because when things are disrupted, you need somebody alongside that's going to help you to get there. And that's exactly what SCORE does. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming. You will be getting a recording of this entire presentation along with slides. Get that within 2 days afterwards. That'll all be shared with you. And I'd also encourage you to, after the webinar, go ahead and watch the webinar in pieces. There's going to be a lot of information from this webinar, but it's great to be able to go back and get that resource. And if you have staff, of course, you can invite them to watch too. So with that, I'd like to introduce Jewell. And Mega has she's going to be talking about AI, the elusive thing. It's great to have somebody with some real knowledge and utilizes AI to be able to help us to navigate that and best utilize that for our businesses. Mega?
Hi, thank you so much for the wonderful introductions. I'm so excited to meet you all. This is my first webinar with this particular chapter, and I see a lot of folks: Karnal, Keith, Larry, Leland, Lester, Mary. Welcome, welcome. Super excited. Before we get started, I want to hear a little bit more about you, where you're from, your business, what you're focused on, and we'll get into a little bit more about, AI, what you want to learn and so forth. But first, I'd love for you to use either the chat feature there available on Zoom to try to share a little bit more about you and maybe get a potential opportunity for networking here. So with that said, a little bit of music to kind of get the energy going. But today, what you'll learn is enhancing your digital marketing strategies. Specifically, that's because I'm in communications and marketing, using AI prompts and compelling content to really help teach the tool and to get to better understand you and your business. By popular vote and demand, we've also integrated other tools like Chrome extensions, visuals, other tools, and so forth to streamline your tasks. So with that said, hey, Andrew, how's it going? I'm going to get started of like, who the heck am I? So my name is Jewell. I get a lot of nicknames, so you're welcome to call me any nickname you want. And I'm a former television news reporter, really focused on immersing myself in different communities or different industries to really understand the story better. Take big data, big stories, and make it very simple for folks to understand. As my journey in my career transitioned, I am now in integrated communications, working with nonprofits, enterprises to be able to deliver their story and positioning to the right people at the right time. So my whole passion, why I do this and why I'm in front of you today, is because I'm passionate about delivering that bridge between small businesses and the tools and resources. My mom is a small business owner. I am as well. So that passion really resonates with me. I'm really excited to get to know each and every single one of you as best as I can. Let me see. We've got Andrew, who's Core and More Technologies, who is a digital marketing agency in New Jersey. We might want to connect. We've got Barbara, who is the visual AV and audio visual solutions company. That's fabulous. I think that's a wonderful sector, especially as events is popping up, virtual events, all that stuff. I think that's very relevant. We've got a notary public business using AI to help with marketing. You're in the right place. We've got Shore District advertising, and the list goes on. I will definitely be able to read this through whenever we do the surveys. So do take your time so we could best understand that. So first, I know I asked a little bit more about you, but this is more about the AI aspect. So what I'll be able to do is drop a survey. If you're on your desktop and you have your phone available, you can scan the QR code. But if you have you're on your computer, I shared my link for Mentimeter right there for you, so you can drop in, start doing the survey, and you'll be able to see what people are at in terms of industry and space. People are starting to flow in, so let me show you. So while we do that, I'm going to take a look at chat to make sure we are addressing your concerns. Marzina, I believe, if I understand you correctly, if you want to put a question specifically, do it in the Q&A. That way your question's right then and there. I could see it up front. So many of you are here as, realtor, personal chef services, LLCs, looking for different support from AI. Thank you so much for sharing what sectors you are in. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes for that. We have firearm services, taxes and notary. So many of you are looking for how to use AI in your marketing, being able to use it to support some of the business aspects. Perfect. So we've got some sectors that I'm familiar with. I did put myself in some sectors like quantum computing, data warehousing, some SaaS, in addition to the nonprofit space. So let's get into the survey here. We've got a couple of folks in real estate, like we talked about, health and wellness. But what about understanding of AI? If you're not able to put this, I'm going to give this to you, another link. Here we go, everybody, if you haven't been able to fill it out. So we've got some basic understanding, which is good. We'll work through the foundations and also what those prompts might look like. How about experience? I've never tried it, so this is a good day to try it if you're open to it and using it all the time. So in terms of what we want to achieve today, I'm going to get into this, is more knowledge about how to use AI efficiently, or ChatGPT, reliably apply ChatGPT for marketing, brochures, and white papers. Fabulous, the right time and place. Learn how to scale more business. I think what I've personally learned with AI, there's some pros and cons, I might say, but it has expanded my bandwidth, just because before, for instance, I would have to spend a whole hour writing a blog and another hour to revise it. But now I'm able to do multiple blogs a week, just because, ChatGPT is able to create something for me, allocate that time to revise it, and it just helps with the bandwidth. Con though, it's that tone that we're going to work on. Basic understanding, ways to use it, and complete some scientific new concept ideas. I'll be curious about what you're looking for there. I'm not necessarily sure that I understand it wholeheartedly. And last but not least, some concerns. We don't know yet, not really understand. I think some concerns that people have is the privacy aspect, especially big enterprises, making sure that you're using it properly, no idea to begin, you're in the right spot, and copying my competition, incorrect info on AI. Well, I'd be curious what that means for that particular business owner. So let's get back into some of the things that we just talked about in terms of the foundations. So some fun facts about ChatGPT. It first got, the hot, ChatGPT AI talk was really, really hot a few months ago, and they received 1 million users in just 5 days of its launch. I was one of those folks, and I remember that system was crashing. There was always, not enough time where I can actually spend because there's so many people there. And it achieved 100 million monthly active users in just 2 months of the launch. Obviously, a lot of interest, a lot of people trying it out. And it's kind of a new way to Google in some sense, I think, if you want to simplify it, is to be asking millions and millions of questions a day and being able to help train that model. And right now, since it is OpenAI, it is $3 million per month. That is a whole lot of cash for a month. So for folks who don't necessarily understand how ChatGPT works, I just want to go through the setup in terms of your experience whenever you're starting out with, opening up an account. We're going to focus heavily on ChatGPT since it's the fundamental stuff, and we could add on some other things. So when you go to OpenAI's website, you'll see a framework that says ChatGPT, which is what we'll focus on the left, Dolly, which is more of like visuals and creations, and the API. Those are more for enterprises creating those bridges from your platform to OpenAI, creating such as chatbots and so forth. So when you set up, this might be similar to what you're looking at, where you log in or sign up. In this case, you sign up and you give a little bit of information about you, giving your email address or logging in through some of the portals like Google, Microsoft, Apple. And this is just to show you that it's pretty simple to set up. A little bit about you, your birthday, and maybe a couple more questions. And it comes to this homepage where it basically says, for a free version, you get ChatGPT 3.5. For the paid version, you get ChatGPT 4, which is a better, more faster processing. In the middle, you will see the examples that you can start thinking about. For example, it says, explain quantum computing in simple terms. So getting an idea of what its capabilities are. It also says, remember what user said earlier in the conversation. So per chat, it can remember the stuff that you shared. For example, my business information, the tone you want to use. So per chat, it really does help you out in that case by understanding a little bit more about you versus, kind of like out of the blue. We'll figure that out. In terms of limitations, know that it's mainly text-based. So if you're going to say, hey, create a graphic, it's not necessarily the best tool, not the tool at all for this. And it does have a limited knowledge of events before. It's all trained by data before 2021. Now, there are some Chrome extensions to help enhance that and be able to do real time, which is great. And we'll work through some of that as well. So I have some chat questions here just to make sure I'm on track. I'm looking for a tool to help me edit existing video to video shorts. I would like to repurpose my long videos. Actually, there is a tool on that. And I would say it's not foolproof. And I think we'll get to it. And I'll be sure to email me to send you the specific one, because in fact, I have tried some tools. For instance, these score videos are about 45 minutes to an hour long. I was able to take the YouTube link, put it on a generator, and it gave me 4 or 5 different videos from that. Benefits of that tool, if you will email me, is that there were like 2 that were really good. Some other ones didn't make sense, or it was choppy, or I was off to the side frame and so forth. So got to try things out before we say a great tool is the one for you. All right. So in terms of enhancing content creation with ChatGPT, AI prompts and stuff is very important. And this probably falls under every single one of you, from Joseph to Can to Carnal. Everything here is all about how you input the information to the tool. So what the heck is an AI prompt? It gives you the text or the information that it thinks that it's related to what you ask. So basically, you're going to tell it like, help me do this. And by doing this, you have to be more specific, be very much understanding that the tool knows nothing about you. So to me, it's kind of like asking a genie, but then being very smart about it, because you've seen those movies where you ask a genie something and they kind of give it to you, but it's not exactly what you expected. That's the type of things that I'm thinking about when it comes to prompts. Being able to ask the tool something very specific, but giving it enough room for it to wiggle and be creative in its own respect. So I've got a couple of Q&A here. Let me just make sure I'm here. It appeared to me, someone asked, that the difference in the new version versus the old version was simply the date of the new material included in the bot. So my use only requires material in the old version. So some people have found it beneficial for using the old version. That's great. Some folks have also shared that like, hey, I need data that's up to date, and a Chrome extension might be that solution for you to be able to get some 2023 data and beyond, and as the days continue. So I'm really glad that that works for you. And in terms of this AI prompt and formula for crafting the prompts, here's some of the things that you want to consider. One, you want to define the task. What is it that you actually need it to do? Are you going to write video scripts, be able to send monthly newsletters, be able to do some marketing strategies? What is it that you're looking for it to do? I recommend asking it one thing at a time, because if you ask multiple things, it can potentially get confused. Specify the subject, whether it's the product that you have, the topic, and give a little bit more details about that particular subject. For me, it's often industry related, in the nonprofit space, in the event space, in aerospace, whatever the case might be. I usually specify the particular subject so it knows which industry I'm working in. Then highlighting key aspects. So details, keywords, things that should or should not be included. Fourth, indicate the target audience. This is pretty important because, someone who's younger might be different in terms of approach versus someone who is older, or male, female, different locations. All of those different target audience specifications might differ. And last but not least, this is pretty important, is the tone and style. I have folks who have tried ChatGPT for the first time, and they've complained, or they have mentioned, that the tone isn't right. It's too robotic. Totally understand. And that's where we're going to go into rephrasing later, of how we can train the model to be able to put together some content that is appropriate with our brand messaging and tone. So if you want to put this all together, that bottom section is basically the task subject in a way that the key aspects targeting the audience in a tone, style, manner, like what the heck it is. Just keep it. You'll know it later, but we'll definitely put this into action in a few more slides. So the formula for crafting prompts, and there are so many things that you can use ChatGPT for. And sometimes I've even asked ChatGPT, hey, how do I best use your tools? Like, what questions can I ask? Help it help you. And so, for example, we have content generation, product service description, market research. I think also, to Barbara's point, monthly newsletters more easily. What does that look like? You could specify from word count to style to the flow of things, and be sure to have specific categories and sections. All of that is possible. And email outreach here is the last bullet here. So just know that this is something where you could write a blog post about a certain topic, targeting this specific audience and including XYZ words. So take a screenshot of this. You don't need to know it right now. We'll get into the specifics, but it's something for you to know that it has a lot of capabilities of expanding more than just like, help me understand quantum computing in simple terms. One more section about crafting prompts, and this helps understand, is also its capabilities. It's able to do competitor analysis. I even did this last night where I'm doing a new project. I'm just, into it right now. I have 2 days to onboard and I needed some help with competitor analysis. I happen to use a Chrome extension because I need some relevant data and, access to the web. And then being able to say, hey, this is my particular client. Please analyze its website and its industry. It gave me a long sentence of what I need to know, really. Ask some follow-up questions because I wasn't clear on a couple things. Once I was done, I was saying, hey, I now need, based on what you know about that particular client, you need a SWOT analysis based on this particular, competitor, this other competitor, and so forth. And it was really great to be able to see the analysis of it. Caveat: when you're looking at that, be sure, especially when you have Chrome extensions, to verify the information. For example, and I'm going a little off of this particular slide, is I had stats about the current market, and it said it was like $1 trillion, market share or whatever, $1 trillion in market share or whatever, revenue generation in 2020, whatever. And I looked at the articles that they had, cited, and I looked at every single one of them. I'm like, why can't I find the word trillion? Everybody is in billions. All the report says billions. And so you have to really verify the information. Otherwise, if you take it at face value, there might be some errors that kind of come and trickle in. So just so understanding, when you're asking for prompts, you can do a lot of different things using ChatGPT: press releases, social posts, events, FAQs, and persona strategies and metrics, and being able to say, like, what are my objectives and key results, or what are my key performance indicators? I mean, the options here are very much endless, and this might apply to all of you, some of you, but take it and use it for, for your benefit here. So in this particular case, my team here asked for creating audience personas for a business coach client. And it's great because it actually gave me 2 personas, and I could ask it for more. Being able to do, first persona is the aspiring entrepreneur, and it gives me the name, the background, the goals, its pain points. And then second person, Michael, who's mid-career transition. He's 45, has spent 2 decades in corporate management. Like, there's so many awesome things that you can start developing with this, where you no longer necessarily have to rely on your own brain power. You can use ChatGPT to be that person who's right next to you, and being able to brainstorm back and forth and say, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? How about this? And all sorts of capabilities where you're no longer, at least for me, as I'm a small, one person, I've got a couple of people in my team, but they're not always available, right? So having ChatGPT as a tool to be able to have that conversation, it's pretty interesting and very different. Last but not least, before we go into educating ChatGPT about your background, finalizing its capabilities that especially support with business, business plans, business marketing, and so forth. It's able to do SWOT analysis, SMART goals, generate FAQs specifically for your business. And you might need to tailor that and teach it a little bit. But for the most part, it's cool. Like a SWOT analysis of Wendy's, for example. It's got a strong brand recognition. It's got innovative marketing. All its social is so cool, so relevant, so engaging, quality ingredients, and menu diversity. So those are the things that it captured of SWOT. For Wendy's, it might not necessarily be what you're looking for, but you could always ask it more questions. Hey, this is not what I'm looking for. Can you please help me answer this, this, this? And then also the SMART goals. I think that's so like important, right? For us to be able to develop SMART goals for our own business. What is it? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So being able to help you create your SMART goals for a business is also a really awesome thing to be able to do. Victor says, best to use prompt templates and save it to Notion to help with tone. So we'll get to that too, Victor. When you're working with just one brand, for example, the tone aspect is something that you can store and save on the paid version. And it's been helpful for me and my particular brand myself. But yes, to Victor's point in the chat, sometimes when you're creating new chats each and every single time, you can lose your conversations. And we have a screenshot of that later. So the best thing is being able to save it somewhere like a Google Doc. I have a Google spreadsheet that has all the links of where my asks are, what prompts I use. So that way I have very similar responses instead of having to start over from the very beginning each and every single time. All right. So when we're trying to teach ChatGPT about who you are, why you do what you do, why you matter, all that stuff, it gets really redundant when you have to do it each and every single time on GBT because, to Victor's point, saving just a blurb about you, your tone, or what you like, what you dislike, it's going to be pretty relevant and going to save you time in the long run. All right, so I've got a question as far as receive the recording. Absolutely, you'll definitely get that. So when you're creating content through learning, I shared this earlier, but asking ChatGPT a couple of questions such as, can you ask me questions to better understand my business? This is what you do prior to all the asks like marketing and SWOT and all that stuff that we covered earlier. It's because ChatGPT should understand a little bit more about you. Because if it doesn't understand about you, how will it be able to give the output that you're looking for? So another conversation that you might want to ask is, in more upcoming conversations or in upcoming tasks that I'm going to ask you to write a blog content script for videos and workshop presentations for me and my business. So this happened to be what I was using. I wanted to write a blog. I wanted to have some scripts for me on videos and workshop presentations for, like, let's say this particular workshop. So before starting, please ask me questions to help understand my business value and the customers I serve. And I ask this because I don't want ChatGPT to write blogs and scripts and workshop presentations without understanding what I've been through, what makes me unique, what are some things that I really want to highlight, and who am I that makes me matter in these particular, conversations. And in terms of, is there a way to discuss with you what we would need to accomplish with ChatGPT? Absolutely. At the end of the conversation, you'll get the recording and also a 15-minute complimentary conversation with me, and I'll be able to answer that question for you. But before that, this is an example of what it looked like when I asked, please ask me some questions to better do the task well. So it actually sent me a whole lot of questions that also challenged me to go, man, I need to have this in writing somewhere. So it asked you about the business overview. What's the name? What's the service? How long have you been operating? Who's your target audience? What's the unique selling proposition? What makes you unique and set apart from other businesses? What's your brand identity? What's your marketing goals? Holy smoly, like content and media, all these questions that it was asking me helped with the delivery and output that it gave back to me. And it's because it got to know who I was, what my business does, and any additional information that it needed to know. Some of them actually, I was surprised because the budget, and I did input my budget there in terms of, my costs, how much my services are. And it helped because it delivered something that, conveyed to that particular audience and that particular budget range. So it gives you a little bit of understanding there. Now, to Victor, your point in helping save things to another platform such as Notion, Google Docs, what have you, on the paid version for paid subscribers, there's this little button on your profile that says custom instructions. In that section, it asks, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? Basically, what I gave in terms of my business response, I saved and stored there. And then the next thing is, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? So this is where you can put your tone, your message, things that you don't want it to say. For example, there are some words that ChatGPT uses in my content. I'm like, I don't talk that way. I don't talk in this prolific content, and I don't use big old words that I need to look up in the dictionary. So I tell it, like, these are the words I don't want you to use. Instead, use it to be more conversational, for example. All right, if there are any questions, please use the Q&A or the chat. I'll be monitoring that. We have a cool suggestion from Andrew using a Chrome extension called Monica, which leverages ChatGPT backend, fully integrates into SERPs as well. So talking about SEO, I believe there. So that's perfect. Is this available in the free version? So there are lots of capabilities even with the free version, but you won't get the custom saves. You won't get access to GPT for that stuff. There are some particular limitations with the free aspect. So you've asked about questions about your business. You've inputted that information as best as you can. And now it's time to be able to make the request. So in my case, I wrote something of the lines where you can create your own too. I'm now ready for you to deliver content topics that you think my audience, because it knows my audience at this point, will find relevant in the communication, leadership, and career section that relate to my business. And communication, leadership, and career is something I made up because those are my 3 categories that I like to focus on. So here's the result. In terms of being able to say, what are the topics? Certainly, it's so polite. And based on the information that I provided, it says, for communication, here are the 4 or 5 things. The power of storytelling in business communication. Awesome. 2, time-saving communication techniques. Under leadership, leading through stories, fostering relationship as a leadership skill, bold decision-making. And career, elevating your career through effective storytelling, career growth in communications. And I'm like, each and every single one of these is fabulous. And so I started to create this content map to go for my blogs, for my newsletters, for my social, for communication. Here are all the topics. And we could put the website, blog, the content for email, the social media, and I could do the exact same thing for the different categories. It's starting to help me understand what topics that might be relevant in my space. And I also can integrate some keywords, for instance, like, hey, for SEO, I really want to rank for these. Please integrate them into my blogs and so forth. It's pretty awesome. So now having this communication, the power of storytelling in business communication, I'm like, this is awesome. This is business casual, but I'm curious of how I can rephrase this to be in a better tone that might be better for TikTok, for example, right? It's a bit more conversational. I'm a little bit more laid back. I'm a little bit more chill. And I just asked it, hey, please rewrite this communication section in a more conversational tone. And that's what you see on the right. So instead of saying the power of storytelling in business communications, it says storytelling magic in business. And its blurb, it says, ever noticed how a good story just clicks? Let's chat about how weaving tales can totally jazz up our business chats and make people sit up and listen. It's good. I think that I would be happy with it as is, with some minor adjustments, such as I don't really say, let's chat about how weaving tales can totally jazz up our business chats. That might be something you might want to consider, encouraging ChatGPT, hey, this particular sentence doesn't fit well for me. I would prefer this method and this tone because, etc. All right, moving on. For folks who are looking for their marketing and, for websites, it's pretty important to update that regularly for Google or Bing or whatever search engines, crawls. Blogs are a really great tool for that. And I've done a request where I'm like, hey, based on what you know about my business and the 3 categories that I told you about, can you please put together a list of SEO keywords? And it did just that. It brought me a bunch of different keywords for the different types and also different locations. And whenever I do make a prompt for blogs nowadays, I not only ask it what I have on the screen, but I also say, please include these keywords. So I'm specific in the request here, and it's important because we talked about that prompts earlier. Please write a 300 words. I'm specific of how many words that I have on this particular content. That starts with 3 takeaways from the blogs. And I put this specifically because most people don't read and they want to know the 3 things. If it captures their attention, maybe they'll read, but for the most part, it's not in there. So then after that, I put the title of what it generated earlier, literally verbatim, the power of storytelling in business communications, exploring how authentic stories can enhance business messages and create stronger connections. But I also ended it with a strong call to action to contact me via email, because in my case, I'm looking for, clients or maybe supporting other people in this particular space. So knowing that it's specific on the request, it's a blog, the content length, 300 words, key takeaways, which is pretty important, and what the topic is and the call to action. So 5 things within that request. So the outcome of it was the power of storytelling in business comms, how authentic narratives can make your messages shine. And it creates a couple of takeaways. I'm going to read some of it, the first paragraph as well. One, authentic storytelling transformed dry business messages into memorable narratives. In the paragraph, it states, in the world of business communications, the battle to capture attention is fierce. Amidst the noise, how do you make your message stand out? The answer, storytelling. Not just any stories, but authentic, heart-tugging, and real narratives that resonate. I don't know, in terms of hands, what you think of that content. Do you like it? Do you not? In my opinion, I think it's okay, but I'm fairly nitpicky. And so I'm like, I'm not really happy with it. So I asked it to rephrase it. So in my ask, you will see that I say, please write it in a more conversational and warm tone. And I thought it was a little better, specifically for my younger audience that I put to content for. And it says the magic behind storytelling in business. First, key takeaway. Hey, guess what? Real stories turn those yawn-worthy business blurbs into tales people can't forget. I would probably search, eliminate, hey, guess what? And go real stories and then continue on. And then the first blurb, first paragraph, it says, okay, let's have some real talk. We're all swamped with ads, emails, and promotions daily, right? So how does this one message make you stop mid-scroll while others get the swift swipe of indifference? Ding, ding, you guessed it, storytelling. So I'm a big fan of this one just because it's a bit more flow. It's something that I would normally talk, eliminate some things, but I think for the most part, I'm a little bit more happier than I did with a very business, more formal structure. So it's up to you. You really can help it be, I want you to rewrite this in a more bold, aggressive tone. I want you to be more concise. I want you to remove jargons. There are many options for you to help rephrase the content to fit your message better. And I believe the free version does include extensions to my knowledge. But I haven't been on the free version, so I'll double check and let you know. All right, one more thing. And this is when folks have told me it's really robotic. This one, I did not inform ChatGPT what I did. I didn't put the brand stuff. I didn't ask it about, ask me about me. But this was the content that it came up with. Embracing authenticity in digital communications. In an increasingly digitized world, it's easy for the essence of humanity to get lost in the pixels. The key to counteracting this effect, authenticity. While the digital realm offers myriad ways to present ourselves, authenticity remains the most compelling. Here's why. I don't like this at all. It does not know anything about me. I hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And here's why. For the essence of humanity to get lost in the pixels. Who writes that way? Maybe some people, but not me. So I was really frustrated when I first started using ChatGPT because I'm like, I don't talk this way. This seems like a roundabout, redundant sentence. I'm not really happy with it. So I thought of giving it a little bit of a chance and asked it to rewrite in a more conversational tone and use less marketing jargons, another approach to kind of remove it. So the response was, let's talk authenticity in digital communications. Hey there, have you ever noticed how sometimes online interactions can feel a bit, robotic? It's easy to fall into, but there's a secret weapon that you can keep our digital chats as genuine as a coffee catch up with an old friend. That secret, just being ourselves, or in other words, embracing authenticity. I was so happy. I was like, oh, all I had to do was help it rewrite. I'm like, cool. So that was just an experience where I tried without telling it a little bit more about me, and it didn't really work out the way that I wanted, but a little bit of rephrasing did the job. All right. The free version is free, but the paid version, it's, I believe, about $20. You can check it on the OpenAI webpage and pay for it. That's how much I've been paying monthly. Bernie says, best Chrome extension to help create email newsletter with current articles, including web links and brief articles summary about consumer finance, for example. No fake web links are important. I have a couple of Chrome extensions, which we'll get into, but if you want to follow up with that, it is, let me pull it up, Web Chat GPT, which whenever I do a Google search, it helps me summarize. For example, yesterday I was like, what are some essentials for, traveling or what have you? And it pulled up all the blogs and then it summarized it for me. So Web Chat GPT is one of my go-to. And then the other one is AIPRM for ChatGPT. And that one's really cool because it has all the prompts listed for me, such as I think someone said, email, has books, has keywords. I'm just going to type that out, AIPRM. And that's been my favorite one because I am able to verify through the links that it gives me. So Bernie, like, there have been some situations where I came back with, here's a great summary, but then I click on the links and I'm like, some of the data is not pretty accurate. I have to change a couple of words because they got some things wrong. So it was really good to have that example, links, for example, to be able to cross-check. All right, moving on. We'll get to you, Frank, in a minute. So for social content, some folks have been really much overwhelmed with how much you have to post. I think it's becoming more noisy. And candidly, I have been trying to remove myself from social media just because of how much it kind of sucks me into the realm of social. So, but if you are creating social content for your business, it is important to be able to have a strategy, right? Not just put a social media post here and there, but what's the point? What's the story that you're telling? So before we get into this, the way that I look at your business, the way that I look at my client storytelling, it's more than just what they do. So it's a little bit of, why they do what they do, how they do, what are the products and what are the benefits that help address the audience's pain point. But the categories of social content can be not just, here's what I do, and this is what I'm all about, and here's the prices. I would go and really categorize from inspirational content, educational content, content that engages, content that acts on something or invites you to something, whether it's a webinar or a call to action to your newsletter, what have you. I think that's also something to consider. So having ChatGPT know a bit more about me, my style and tone, because I have told it endlessly to say like, no, I don't like this. I like conversational. I like, no jargons at all. And so I was like, okay, I want it to write one post because having it write multiple posts just was a chaotic experience. Just like, no, too much work to rewrite. So I said, please write me one social post up to 500 characters, because that's how much I like my, LinkedIn character count to be, about my experience as a television news reporter and now integrated communication specialist, aimed to build trust with my primary and secondary audience. It already knows that because I've already told it. So again, I was specific. I want it to be a social post. I want it to be 500 characters, my story, and who it's for, my primary and secondary audience. And here's what it came up with. From chasing headlines as a TV reporter to crafting impactful narratives as an integrated communications specialist, my passion has always been about authentic storytelling, accurate. Years in the newsroom taught me about the power of compelling story, and now I'm using that expertise to help businesses like yours shine better. To all the ambitious entrepreneurs out there, whether you're field-driven or all about the data, trust in a journey that bridges both worlds together. Together, will elevate your brand voice. Storytelling matters. Okay, so a couple things. I was really impressed by this because it was conversational. It would be something along the lines that I would write for the most part, but it also addressed the primary and secondary audience. In this mock, I said my primary is very much feel-based, people who make decisions on emotions, but my secondary audience was very much data-driven. They needed the information to make decisions. And so that's where this, whether you're field-driven or all about the data, trust in a journey that bridges both worlds, I was pretty impressed because it captured what I had told it in the beginning. Okay. So this is what it looked like whenever I did post it on LinkedIn. So I put together an old picture of mine and put it out right before the webinar. And the next day or throughout the week, I got more than like 1,500 impressions, for example. It was one of the better performing posts. And I was pretty shocked. I'm like, this is great. This is awesome, being able to help leverage ChatGPT to support my content, especially when I kind of have trouble talking about myself all the time. I love talking about my clients. I love being able to put positioning and messaging. But whenever it came to myself, just not the best place for me. So with that said, I'm going to go to some chats and some questions here. Can you use for a quick example a father's remark to thank 500 guests from far and near who attended an event for his newlywed son and wife? Yeah. So for example, you can go directly on ChatGPT and ask it directly that. But then, or if you want, you can share a little bit more about your background to ChatGPT, like when it was, how you felt about it, what really was meaningful to you, and being able to rewrite that. Maybe at the end, when we have some time, I'll be able to do that with you, Frank, on the screen and see if we can navigate that real time. So we've got a couple more things that I want to go through before we close up shop here. Some questions and also some Chrome extensions. Someone had made a comment, and I think this is one of the fears that people have. Sounds like ChatGPT is taking away your business. And I think there is real fear that people have with this, and I don't know how many of you feel the same way. Initially, when it came out publicly, I was a little concerned, but knowing that AI has been around for a very long time doesn't necessarily make me more afraid of it, if that makes sense. What I did come to the conclusion of is ChatGPT or AI is obviously here to stay. We've been using it for decades at this point, but now it's practical application. And being able to use the tool and supporting others to, help try it out or navigate through those waters has been more beneficial. And the business has, at least for me, has been able to increase in some capacity because that knowledge is being able to like transfer and being able to educate others and so forth. I think I have those types of feelings where I think it's better for humans to know about AI and use AI and teach about AI versus folks who don't know how to use AI. And that will set apart the knowledge. And that's my opinion. I think that folks can come up with their own opinion however they see fit. It will augment tasks, to Victor's point. I think, what you could do before, now you could do more of it and probably better because of it. It's not foolproof. Like I said, verifying, understanding the terms, understanding the risks that you're coming into, not putting in any sensitive data to ChatGPT. All that will be very important. The goal is to create assistance. Absolutely. There are certain things that, like for scheduling, for instance, like scheduling my day or creating workout plans or meal plans, I've been able to use ChatGPT for things that I wasn't able to do before or had to pay someone else like an enormous amount of money to figure out for me. Tips on AI hallucinations. I need you to elaborate a little bit on that, Bernie. And Victor, if you would not put it on Reddit, do not put it on ChatGPT. Arguable though, because there's always, those throwaway accounts. But yes, to your point, what you wouldn't share, such as customer or really important data, proprietary data, don't share that kind of stuff. All right, so here it is. So for those asking what the ChatGPT Plus, it's $20 a month. You can upgrade to Plus, access GPT-4, which is their most capable model, faster response speed, and exclusive access to beta features like browsing, plugins, advanced data analysis. All right. So here are some Chrome extensions I found. Not necessarily use them all. I only use two primarily because I've come to find, and I've done this, put this together for by popular demand. But I've come to find the more extensions I download, the more unuseful I become, because there's so many apps that pop up and here and there. I'm just like, I'm just trying to get one thing done here. Okay. So I use that AI PRM or what have you, and the web ChatGPT plugin for Google searches and so forth. But take a look at these. These are display chat responses, turns chat into voice assistants, or write emails and messages. This might be best for you, Frank. Here could potentially be for you. It's a fit. There are also other Chrome extensions that are specific for social media, for example, Twitter, or here LinkedIn, write useful LinkedIn comments. There are more that does specific things, such as summarize your web page for you, serve as a helpful AI assistant that you can use while browsing any websites. Or this is what I actually use, which is add relevant web results to your prompts to ChatGPT for more accurate and up-to-date conversations. I love it. It does get annoying sometimes, but when I do need it, it's clutch. Some other Chrome extensions, and we've got like 2-3 more slides here for AI chatbot powered by GPT-4. So there is likely to have a paid version of this. Well, it could summarize videos, articles, PDFs, websites, write emails, and so forth. And I've come to find that there were some features that I said, hey, please analyze this YouTube link. And it used the captions as a way to analyze that video. It wasn't able to analyze the video itself, if that makes sense, but it was able to analyze the captions. There are 2 more. One is, ChatGPT for Docs, instantly shares your chats with just a press of a button, and also Twitter or X, however you want to call it. And for some other tools, I thought this would be great to share. I use Grammarly to be able to put together like, my press releases, my web blogs, some also just emails, sometimes just proofread it. And Grammarly Go has been really great because it does have that AI functionality. Jasper and Copy AI is also text-based content. That's awesome. In terms of photos, Adobe Farley is the beta, and the stock img.ai is good. All right, I'm going to show you a video. It's not the best, but I thought it was worth the direction that we're heading in our technology. So here goes nothing.
Hi, I am Mega. Let's create engaging videos for marketing, e-learning, or training audience in minutes.
I was like, ew, because what this particular tool is, if you use Canva, which is like a really great design tool for everything, pretty much, docs, social, all the above, it has an integration with an AI tool called HeyGen, and you literally upload, or you can choose some of the templates, a picture of you, and you type out the script, and then you choose the audio, and then it came out like that. And I was pleasantly surprised, because it's not something I would put out as like myself, obviously, but it shows you the technology direction. And I'm sure there's some other better tools out there. But now you can start thinking like, hey, maybe you don't have to put your makeup on or understand the script, and eventually technology will get there to that point. My opinion of it is, I think people on the other side, your audience, should know what is AI generated or not, just because I think it could be very not the best thing. I wouldn't put that out as far as like, oh, look at me, that's me. I wouldn't do that. I would say like, hey, this is cool. Check us out. Here's some tools for music, for folks who want to maybe compose music for their content, put into behind maybe their social posts or what have you, or video. That's a tool. Beethoven Wave Tool. Video, I think someone had shared this earlier, a question where you could put longer videos and create shorter videos. This Opus Clip might be your tool. And then Synthesia would be turning your text into videos in minutes. So last but not least, generating videos. I think this is the coolest thing, because I have done videos and a week later something becomes obsolete, and then you have to record this other video that has the new information. And being able to generate video now through text and having that update, it's not bad. I think it's a great tool to have and to use. So with that said, I want to be able to summarize some things, but also share a feedback of how we can improve this conversation for everyone moving forward. And Frank, I have not forgotten about you. We'll be able to share that after this. But as you click on the survey, be able to share, how did you like this course? And would you be interested in a follow-up document or conversation? We'll be able to share that 15-minute conversation link with you after, but really want to be able to share, how was this? Was it good enough for you? Was there anything that you would have liked to be added, etc.? So we shared today from the very get-go of like an hour ago, we shared how we started opening up a ChatGPT account from the free version to being able to understand what prompts there are in terms of capabilities. And then we also went into creating our blogs and social media and topics and learning how to rephrase that content to better suit your needs. Remember, it doesn't really know you. Assume nothing. And so by being able to deliver that information to ChatGPT, you're helping yourself, right? And last but not least, by popular demand, Chrome extensions, visuals, videos, and so forth, there are lots and lots of tools for you to try. But my advice is try a couple one, pick it, try it one at a time potentially, because I've come to find folks do get a little bit more overwhelmed when there's just too many things running all at once. Man, Victor, you want to join me on my next conversation? I think here's another one that he had shared. Last year, Wonder Studio for creating movies. Fabulous. Yes, Barber. Here is my email address. Email me if you would like a 15-minute conversation. We'll also send you that link after. But we do have another conversation or workshop on the 18th. Bill, Larry, do remind me what time that is. But we are talking about effective communication. My background, as you know, as a television news reporter, I talk a lot, but then being able to deliver in a way that makes you feel and act and summarizes things is really going to be an important key to that we're going to highlight. So with that, any questions before we go to Frank's question? Let's see. Frank, will you be able to share your previous request? I have lost track of it in chat. Here we go. All right, so by popular demand, Frank, I'm going to open up my ChatGPT really quick and ask it what you just literally asked me. So I'm going to log in really quick. But in the meantime, are there any questions and comments? I'm going to pull up that window in just a hot second. Okay. So, all right. So here's my screen. I'm going to start sharing. This is my Chrome extension, AI. What is this called again? Web Chat GBT and AI PRM. So AI PRM is this whole thing about one prompts right here. So it basically helps me click the topics that I want from SEO to generative AI, marketing, and so forth. And it can help me figure out, what types of activities I want it to do. Or you can create your own, or you can search. And that's kind of helpful, like writing a book, for example. Write a book in one click. Kind of helpful. I haven't tried it. I don't believe ChatGPT is going to be able to write me a book in one click. So I tend to not necessarily go there, but I will do high converting Facebook ad copy. So with that said, I'm going to disable the web access and try exactly what you shared and see what comes up with. So it doesn't know anything about you. And I think this is, Frank, you tell me, but good evening. Today, as I stand before you, my heart swells with gratitude and joy. So this might be something where I ask it, 500 guests who attended event for my newlywed son and wife. So you can put, my son's name is my husband and wife is And please update this. So it might be able to start being able to refine it for you. See questions from Kathy. 1 second. I'm not sure where we're at in terms of Kathy's question. Please let me know what that is. But now, after being able to update this, you're able, now you, instead of saying my son and my wife, it's starting to start drafting it. I'm not necessarily happy with this because it might be too long for you. For example, please rewrite in a warm and conversational tone and limit to a 30-second read. So this might be something where you ask it word count, you ask it time-wise, and it's a little bit better here in this case, just for us specifically. Hi, everyone. I can't help but smile as I look around the room. What an incredible moment to have all of you celebrating with us, Jeremy, my son, and his wonderful wife, Tina. Whether you've traveled afar or close by, your presence is a gift beyond words. To our far-flung friends and family, your journey to be here is deeply touching, and to those from our local community, your ongoing support means the world. Today isn't just about a wedding, it's about the love and connections we all share. As Jeremy and Tina start this new chapter, your warmth and well wishes light their path. Thanks for sharing in their joy, laughing, and for being here. This day, this memory will forever hold a special place in our hearts. So that's something. What do you think, Frank? Maybe you want to drop in the chat. But let me see Carter. Can it create an entire website with Wix or other ways? So there are tools out there, separate tools from ChatGPT that creates websites. Specifically, Wix has its own AI tool, or so they say. I've tried it maybe a couple of weeks ago, where they say, here's a website, what is the industry? Give me some contact info, and it'll generate something for you. I think it's sufficient for like basic things, but what I've come to find is ChatGPT does a great job of helping with the text-based content, alt text, and so forth. For example, I did use ChatGPT to kind of augment some of my work for my services, as Speak with Intention was what I had did, but this one was what I think ChatGPT supported me on. So I said, hey, I've got a speaking service where I train and I do workshops. Can you please help me write the web page for it? So per section, I had asked specific questions of going, can you please do a blurb of 10 sentences or 5 sentences, whatever, that says about my skills as a public speaker and being able to really help them in their educational journey or something. And then it was able to help me create some of the blurbs that I needed that also included my keywords, because I had shared what the keywords that I wanted to rank on. So that's how I think it's going to be beneficial for you to be able to create content that, one, is SEO friendly, makes sense for your website, and you can drop it in wherever you see fit. So there's a little bit of you putting in this content, because you obviously need to manage and analyze what it's putting out, whether it's accurate and reflects your brand accurately, but then also being able to use the tool to be able to integrate into your web page. So I don't know anything about there are some tools that create websites for you, but I haven't found them to be entirely useful, just because everybody has a different use case. I would say get a framework through Wix, through their platform, their templates, and then using ChatGPT's text-based responses to help you kind of create better blurbs and call to action. All right. Yes, everybody, folks will get their slides, we'll get the recording. Frank, you have your message here. Hopefully you're happy with it, but just try it out and see what your first response gets and start to develop, asking it to rephrase and so forth for you. All right, with that said, thank you so much for joining us today. I had so much fun. And I hope you learned a thing or two in being able to start implementing AI in your workflow.
Thank you, Mega.
So once again, thank you, Mega. This is Mega's first presentation with us, but hopefully she'll be joining one of our residencies by being a regular presenter for Monmouth Score. A wealth of information. And along with that, I wanted to also encourage all of you to attend Mega's next webinar, which is going to be September 18th. And it's mastering the message. We all have to deliver our message, whether it's to an audience of 1 or an audience of 400, whether it's to employees, whether it's to a prospect. And being able to deliver that message matters, because if you can't deliver your message, you'll never get on down the line. So as we've seen today from Mega, who's done an awesome job with teaching us a little bit more about that mystery thing called AI, Mega's going to share some real great tips of how you can master your audience and how you can communicate better and how people can connect together. So what I encourage you to do is go to www.score.org/Monmouth. On there, you can register for Mega's webinar. You can also get a free business mentor. Again, mentors are always free. We have over 300 here in New Jersey, but we have Wells already. A lot of us are former business owners, former executives, all different levels. But if you have a need, we can help you. So again, I want to thank you again. Please plan on attending Mega's next webinar. You'll get announcements for it, but register in advance so that you'll be on the list, because we get busy and we don't want you to forget later on tonight and miss out on the next webinar. So thank you once again, Mega, and we look forward to seeing you again in September.
Talk to y'all later. Bye.